Welcome back to Brick and Brand, a podcast at the intersection of retail and entrepreneurship. We're your co-hosts, Delaney and Brettley Roach. Today, we're sitting down with someone who I've gotten to know very well over the last couple of years. We've gotten the opportunity to work together on land transactions and land deals all across North Texas, and he is the ultimate self-made landman. He's built his whole business off of incredible hard work, always putting relationships first, and of course, having a deep understanding of the real estate land game. If you're someone who's involved in land at all or in real estate in North Texas, chances are you've been involved with a property that he's part of. We're very excited to welcome Bhadresh Trivedi, CEO and founder of FrostFire Capital, to the show today. Bhadresh, welcome to Brick and Brand.
Thank you. Thank you, Brettley and Delaney.
It's so nice to have some time with you, Bhadresh, where we are not rushing and talking only about deals. So this is such a privilege.
That's true.
I heard you guys were working on deals this morning. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much if we don't talk at least twice a week, then there's something missing.
Something's wrong. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We are involved. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. I have loved working with you over the past few years. So we're going to get into the real estate and all of that good stuff. We've got a lot to cover. But you have an incredible story, kind of a childhood story, and how you moved to the US and actually got started in real estate. And so I don't want to skip over that. So to start, can you take us back to your childhood in India growing up? What was that like? And what ultimately was the turning point where you decided to move to the US and make that transition?
The childhood was different from the college, and then from college onwards, it was different. So there were stages of living in India. Childhood story was very innocent story in a modest background, regular family, tight-knit family, parents' value system were inculcated in me, my brother, my sister. We grew up in, playing in the streets in mostly cricket because that's the sports in India. Regular everything else. It was a lot of physical, there were no in-house gaming system in those days. So it was mostly out, and that in a weird way, that was very helpful because we became people person because we dealt with the different kids outside. So it was more active, engaged and stuff. Nothing very specific. We didn't know anything. Our life was not beyond the city we owned. Going to some different big cities or going to Mumbai was a treat, something special. That's what I didn't go to Mumbai for a very long time. So that was the childhood story. Went to the college. College time was a different town. We call it dorm, but it was in India that is called hostel. So we lived in hostels, the college hostels, and I came across a lot of people, different type of life. Of course, we were young and energetic, and I got into the college politics, got into the dorm secretary, city, the college politics too, sports and everything else. So that was very interesting. It was engineering college, 5 years of living outside, coming out of the shelter of parents was in a weird way a lot of learning that I wouldn't have otherwise done. Because everything was ourselves, keeping the room neat and clean, knowing what is lying where, and managing the budget for a month. All that was new because we were under the shelter of parents. We didn't do anything. We didn't know how the clothes from bathroom went to the closet nicely folded.
Magic. Yeah.
It was magic. And we learned it. And then I was working in India again for engineering activities and engineering stuff, and a plant engineer, deputy plant engineer. I had 120 people working for me, 3 shifts, 1 supervisor, small factory. was pretty active, was happy, nice salary. But that was the, again, limited version of life, growing to the top boss of the factory. And that's all that was. Then I got married. The marriage system back in India is different in our days. Nowadays it is different, like in America. So we were introduced by parents, the arranged marriage. The concept is a foreign concept to America, but it's not exactly what we think here in America. We are introduced by parents, but we have a say. We can say yes, no, maybe, all that. So I ended up saying no to about 5 candidates. My wife also ended up saying no to multiple candidates and stuff, and ultimately, when we came across each other, we clicked and we got married. And then about 6 months of courtship, I guess. Then from betrothal to wedding, and then we
That's
got
not
married.
a very long time. That's a pretty
Not a
short
long
amount
time.
of time. Yeah.
It's true. That's true. It's not, but it's very long time back in India because
Okay.
yeah. But and at the same time, to be honest with you, I like that system. I wish it was prevalent even now, because what do I know about life at 28, 22, 23?
So
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Not much.
Other than the physical attraction or looks, what do I know about
Right.
the life? I mean, so it's like when the parents are involved, there is a lot of vetting done, educational background. People here date for years together. They don't even know anything about anybody.
So, quick question on that. Do your parents, when they're picking these candidates for you, do they do their best to find someone that matches your personality and your values, and it's kind of like a checklist they're going through, or how do they
know
select?
they know the family. That families introduce each other. It's the marriage of family, not the
Yeah.
so the background, the educational background, and the life experience of the parents, everything come into picture, right? Most of the marriages are marriages of equals, not too high, too low kind of a thing in terms of any status. So if you are educated in a certain level, you look for educated class family with the cultural values more important than the monetary values of the families and stuff like that. So there are a lot of things that mature people do that youngsters don't have comes into picture, that comes to your benefit. And that's why most of the arranged marriages end up being successful, in my opinion, because it's the time cultivates the love, and they call prem and parinam. Basically, marriage and love grow together, and it is on a mature level. So that it was a different system. Not that any system is perfect, or not that any system is good or bad. But in my opinion, because if I was to look for somebody else at the age of 22, I didn't know anything about life, and that would have been very difficult.
Right.
So that's what happened there. Anyway, so wedding, and then I was in national capital of India, New Delhi. I joined a financial institution there because the banking system decided back in India, the very unique concept they had was to pick engineers to head the funding of industries. Industrial growth was a main concept. And they thought that banking usual people, the commercial or business people, don't know much about the industry. So why not hire engineers to manage the industrial growth of the banking system? In other words, they know that the engineers are good at mathematics, they're good at statistics and arithmetics, and they're good at logic, because engineering is nothing but the applied logic. So that's why engineers were hired. And engineers don't know anything about the financial institution or accounting or anything. So they trained engineers in a configured environment specific to the banking, and they put us into vigorous training for about 3 to 4 months, and we got trained, and we were thrown into different parts of the country.
So at this point, Bhadresh, how old are you? Because you sound like you've done a lot. In India up to this point. You're married. How old are you?
I was, when I when I left India, it was 34. I was in a factory. I was about 5 years. I was like up to 28. I was in an industry.
Okay.
And then
Got
after
it.
28, I joined the banking industry. I was there until I was 33, 34. So 28 to 34, about 6, 7 years, I was in the national capital. In those 7 years, my portfolio was the largest ever portfolio of the banking industry.
Wow.
And it was pretty interesting. I liked that. I came across a lot of large industries involved in large manufacturing, large scale, medium scale, small scale industries, basically involved mostly in export, import. So the letter of credit, bank guarantees, discounting, bill rediscounting, all kinds of portfolios of the banking.
It sounds like a great career field, and you're growing. You have the largest team of everyone. Why did you decide to come to the US?
Before that, I totally agree with you when you said it was a great career. I think what I am today is a lot of credit to my engineering roots, logical understanding, and the banking, because banking is the core of any business.
Mhm.
And I understand banking very well. So when I have to deal with bank every day, pretty much, right? For all the industry, all the real estate growth that we have, bank is involved.
Right.
So that banking understanding is extremely critical, and I know the banking because I was a banker. So that was something very interesting. Why did I decide to come? How do I say it politically right?
You can say it however you want on Breaking
Yeah,
Brand.
India at that time was a different political scenario. India was considered to be upcoming, not so industrious and growth oriented. We had severe foreign exchange crisis. Country was not considered wealthy. Now that's the fourth largest economy, and it is going to be third largest economy pretty soon. So with that, there was another factor that was very important for me to consider, is that I was born into a forward class and forward caste. India was caste-based society in those days. So forward castes, governmental policies, and everything else was against forward caste because there were so many schemes in government and colleges and everywhere else to uplift the downtrodden castes. It's like almost like here that it's a class based here, that certain classes are assumed to be doing well, and
Mhm.
certain other class, because they had a different status in a 200 years back, the governmental policies are in favor of them. But sometimes the pendulum goes on the other side too much. It's never either it's on one side or on the other side. So everything appeared to be going against me because I was born in a forward class.
Mhm.
So and then I was okay with that, except that my boys would also be facing that music. The other situation that I was completely not in favor of or was against was that in academic university, academic institutions, colleges, there were quota systems that if my son has to go to medical college or engineering college, they pretty much have to get 100 percentile of the points.
Mm.
And the downtrodden, because the intent was to uplift them, they could walk in with 50 percentile.
Wow.
Was not in favor of that because merit should not be the messed with. So that was one
Mhm.
of the things. And then so I decided that I would go to a place where only merit counts and nothing
Mhm.
else.
So you were about 34 when you moved to the United States from
To
India?
the United States. Yes, I had to wait for a very long time. I had to wait pretty much 11 years because I got married when I was 25, and
Wow.
I came here when 34 to 24 actually. And so I had to wait for about 8 to 9 years for legal immigration to come through.
Wow.
And I was in New Delhi at that time. Spent a lot of my young life waiting for the legal immigration.
Mhm.
I didn't want to do anything illegal anyway. So I got the immigration. Came to US. I was 34.
You didn't move to Dallas though, did you? Which is where you now live for the listeners. Where did you move first, and where did you get your first employment?
I landed at Miami. My brother-in-law that sponsored me was in Boca Raton, Florida, in Boca. Boca was a wealthy town. It is still considered a wealthy town, and it's Palm Beach County. I came to Miami, to Florida, and from there, of course, to Boca because that's where my brother-in-law lives. One of the best experiences of life that taught me a lot, but at that time it appeared to be crucial, almost suicidal. It was pathetic. I regretted why I came to US because
Really?
everything was new. I was going through cultural shock. I had accents. I had my educational background was not considered valid. Industries were non-existent in Florida. Banking was a different system, so I can join as a teller, nothing more. And then
So even though you
thought,
had all this experience, you had to
didn't
basically
make
start, didn't mean anything, start at the
didn't mean
ground up.
exactly.
Wow.
And the
Did you
ground
know English as well
Ye-
already a little
yeah,
bit?
that was good. English was not an issue. That's most of the educated people in India don't have that problem. Accents may be a problem, but not English language.
Yeah.
So I joined. I was legal, so I could work, but the minimum wage was like $4.95 to $5 an hour.
Ugh.
And at that time, there's a store chain called TJ Maxx.
Yep.
We know about it.
Yeah.
I've shopped there in the past. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So
we all have.
I joined TJ Maxx, picking the clothes from men's fitting room and hanging
Wow.
them on the shelves, and for $5 an hour. And when I came to US, the foreign exchange crisis was so severe back in India that they allowed me $20 a person to come out. So although I had money back in India, I could convert and bring. I can't get the exchange from the Reserve Bank of India. So I was given $80 because two boys and my wife and myself, 4 people, $80 in my pocket, and we land in Miami. And then so that's when my brother-in-law gives $20 to the porter, and I see that, and that was the first realization as to why did I do what I did.
Yeah.
Because
Having the regrets. Yeah. How do I do this?
25% of my wealth at that time, $80, went to the porter. I had 2 boys and stuff. What would I do here was the first realization. Never had to think about anything like that because I lived in pretty much in illusion back in India that I have family, I have things, and it's okay. Something happens to me, somebody's there to take care, and all those illusions people live in without realizing that everybody has a life and you are on yourself, you're by yourself. Although people may wish well for you, they have their own lives too. Nobody has time.
Yeah.
Effectively, nobody has time for you. You are on your own. You pay for your own deed and stuff. So first thing we did, I and my wife had never had to work back in India because I was doing well off.
Right.
So, but she had to work now. So both of us, she worked in a departmental store, women's specialty store called Lohman's, and then I was in TJ Maxx, and we worked for $5 an hour. And the first thing we did was we saved money to buy a ticket to send my boys back to India because we didn't want.
So you were regretting it that badly.
Yeah, because I didn't want them to suffer the poverty that we were in. And I could manage, my wife could manage, but we didn't want the kids to suffer. So I sent them back to my parents. My parents took care of them for 2 years. We had 2 years to make it or break it.
Wow.
And
But
then
how did you come to terms with the fact that you're sending your kids back, saying goodbye to your children? I mean, I know it was for their benefit, but that had to have been heartbreaking.
You understand that a woman speaking here. So that's more of my wife issue.
Okay.
I knew that I had to put a weight on my chest and move on.
Okay.
But for my wife, that didn't leave the kids out of sight for 5 minutes, had to leave them and send them back for 2 years was
Yeah.
tough. Although
Yeah.
she knew that they are safe and they're happy
Right.
with my parents, but they were not with her. And that was, she used to have nightmare at night, waking up thinking that the boys are at the door, knocking the door, and all that kind of stuff. So that was a different scenario altogether. But we made it. We worked.
You made it.
And after a year, we got a raise of 15 cents on $5. We were like working for $5, 15 cents.
Progress.
But I know, but we worked. Yeah, I went back to school, working in the evenings and weekends, and daytime school. Back to engineering college, and I did the masters. We lived in the one of the lowest apartment complex. We didn't want to be a burden on any relative that sponsored us, so basically we wanted to be on our own, and we started our life in an apartment with nothing. We put the towel on our head because we didn't have money to buy a pillow, and that's how we started. We go to the apartment. We don't have electricity, water. Water was there. Sorry, water was there in the apartment for free. Electricity. So I didn't know. I know for America was a spelling for me. So I said to the apartment, I said, lights are not on there, and they said, well, you have to connect the electricity. You have to call. When I call electricity company, they said, well, do you have any credit card over? I said, what is a credit card? I don't have any credit in this country. I'm new. So they said, well, then in that case, you have to give $200 deposit for which we had to work for 15 more days, both of us, because $5 an hour, $200 is. So we lived without electricity for 15 days, and we did that. And there used to be a little carton of milk, bread, and jam, and peanut butter. That was our lunch.
That was your groceries for the week. I mean, I have chills. I can't believe I've never heard this story in this much depth. And I think a lot of people will hear this and just have so much inspiration. And the fact that you persevered through that, that's enough to break just about anybody. And it tells me even more about a lot of the ways you are how you are now, which is incredibly humble, incredibly hardworking. And during this time, so did you have a plan you said you went back to school. Were you planning to go back into engineering? Had you even thought about real estate or land at that point? I'm guessing that had not even
there was
crossed your radar.
Yeah, that it was just a survival instinct.
Survival. Yeah.
Survival. And I had a lot of illusion too. I had one illusion that why would anybody give a damn about an Indian with such a heavy accent in the finance world? I came from finance world. I was very successful. That was a wrong concept. It was my bad that I thought about that. And I didn't want to go for finance side of the colleges and engineering. And I went back to engineering routes because I thought I would rather sit in a cubbyhole, sit across a monitor, do some programming, software, and make my living. So I'd rather go back to my engineering roots and take my master's in computer science and engineering or whatever. Again, a wrong concept. Now that I know, when I look back, there are all kinds of people extremely successful in every field. This is the best country on the planet where if you have what it takes to do, you can be successful in any field. It doesn't matter. Right? There are Chinese that rarely speak as good of an English as an Indian would speak from India. China doesn't have that language. At that time, it wasn't there. But they are very successful people. And there are people I know some people from very, very small countries where there is nothing available to them. They are extremely successful here. So that was my misconception about US. So I went back to engineering roots, thinking that, okay, I'll do. And I joined a software company. At that time, I was floating high. because getting $38,000 salary a year in those days,
It's a lot of money.
that's a lot of money from $5 an hour.
Right. It's a big improvement.
So I went back, brought my big boys back. They had a normal life. We had a normal life. We thought we are floating. This is good.
Mhm.
So one thing leads to the other. It was a good time for software. .com before .com burst, it was a very good time for software. So I changed jobs, 38 to 66. No, 38 to 60 and 60 to 66 in a matter of 2 years. Then I thought I would rather join. First is the survival instinct. Then once you have the stomach full of food and the shelter to live, then you start about everything else.
Right.
Then I
Right.
started thinking about the education for kids, and that's when I realized that we and my wife, and by the way, the biggest learning was that when you are at the bottom of the pile, the only way to go is up. There is nothing to lose. You can't do worse.
Right.
So that was a beautiful thing that how can I go wrong? Anything I do is going to be better than yesterday. So day by day. And the second thing is a true learning of life was that I couldn't do anything without my wife's support, and that I had a full support of my wife. So she never complained ever on anything. She never complained when I had nothing, and she doesn't want anything when I have a lot of things. So
Oh,
Incredible
she
partner.
sounds
yeah.
amazing.
So
Yeah.
that's what was a good learning. Has been a good mother.
So, yeah, I want to hear about your transition from engineering, computer science, and then at some point you started to get some runway, some income, some wind under your wings. At what point did you have the idea or the spark of, could I be an entrepreneur? Could I build something of my own? Was that further down the road, or at
Great
what point did
segue.
you start thinking about that?
Yeah, great segue into it. I mean, it was usually what happens is salaried people with whatever level of income is a level of comfort that you have. I mean, low salaried people can still survive comfortably. High salaried people have better car, better house, but it's again the survival. It's month to month, hand to hand. There's not a lot of surplus when you are young because there are a lot of expenses, education of kids, colleges, blah, blah, blah. All those things are involved. So towards that, when I thought about the college, I thought Florida was not a good place for college or schools.
For the boys?
For the boys. Florida schooling district at that time in Boca was not as good. Today it may be different, I don't know. But Boca is a very wealthy town. The snowbirds from different places, including New York, Britain, and then Canadians are there in winter time. Most of the wealthy people send their kids to the private school, which in those days was $1,200 a month. I'm talking about 1996. Yeah. So we thought, we have to go to a place where education is a little bit better and one of the better ranking. Plano came out shining at that time. So we moved to Plano because of that. So I moved a job. I came to Fujitsu Network. Then that was the .com time frame. So I thought, we are settled here. We have a house here in Plano. That was in 1997. And then we thought I would try some startup because it was the time of, if people from California know better that startups are the way to go in those days because a lot of people made a lot of money on being successful out of startup. So I joined a startup, and that startup was acquired by Cisco Systems. I didn't make a lot of money, but I made more than I could dream. I made more than $250,000, and at that time, $250,000 was a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
So I made that much of money. But then I realized that, okay, you buy a house and $250,000 is nothing.
It's gone.
In those days, that you could buy a house in $250,000, but that's it, nothing more. But a great salary, and I grew very well in the job that I was in. That company that acquired, I did pretty good there. But there was a desire to do something on your own. But again, people have to work for medical coverage and kids' education. Most of the people work for three things: a mortgage payment, medical insurance, and kids' education. Those are the three goals people have to constantly. So we are like a glorified slaves to do things. It looks glorious, but there is nothing permanent. There is no job that is permanent. You can be laid off in 30 seconds.
Right.
Yeah. You have no autonomy.
No
You're just 100% relying on another person's decision if they need you or not. It's
it's a fake
fake security, or it's
security you
not
give.
really safe.
It's not really that. You may be on the road tomorrow. So I was doing very well, but then I had to do it until the education part is done. So my boys were done with education. They were fantastic. Their cost for education in their engineering college is through the college or even to PhD. The cost to me was zero, nothing. They were dead. So they did pretty good too. So I was done at that time, and I and my wife discussed, and I said I want to do something. And at that time, properly, to instigate me, my companies wanted me to go to California. By that time, I was in 2013, I think. 97 to 2013 was a long time. At that time, I was almost a Texan.
Not totally, but almost.
Not totally, almost. I didn't have
15 years is the cutoff.
Yeah, I didn't have that many boots at that time, but I didn't have any boots.
And now I always see you in boots.
Yeah, that's it.
Because you're a landman, you have to wear boots.
Yeah. So
I love it.
And a truck. So
And a truck.
So I said, I don't want to go to California. So I quit, and my wife said, that's a good idea. Do whatever you want. She was working in a college, a community college, as a librarian and stuff. So that was the medical insurance was covered because she had the insurance. Boys were done. House was already there, and we could manage. So I quit, and I started. Before that, I was doing part-time real estate because stock market experience was not that great. Stock market is an illusion too, again, because you don't have any control. So I wanted to put money where I can, it doesn't become zero suddenly. The stock investment in MCI, Nortel, and so many I2 and many other companies during those days become zero. Investment in real estate doesn't become zero. It doesn't go crazy, but it doesn't become zero. So that I thought, this is ridiculous. I'm a fool to invest money listening to some so-called experts on the television and buy the stocks and stuff. That was a stupidity. And I lost a lot of money on stocks too. So as a result, I wanted to do part-time real estate. And again, real estate was a spelling. What do I know about real estate, coming from India and working in a technology? So I did the homes like everybody else does. I had 12 to 15 homes at that time, renting and stuff. By that time, I quit. I realized that renting is not all that good because one bad tenant can take the money you made from 10 good tenants. And social angle comes into picture. Courts are siding with sometimes the residential tenants and stuff.
Yeah.
There are all kinds of people we deal with. So I wanted to come out of that, and I wanted to do something. What do I do? Needed a lot of money. I had a 32 units apartment complex. That was not my DNA. I was not a slumdog millionaire. It was not in a good location. So as a result, I took it, but I bought it, and it was profitable too. It was 25% return on the investment by having.
Oh, that's really great.
This is a 32 unit multifamily complex.
Fantastic return.
Okay.
The problem was it was low end apartment unit, 34 units.
Right. So you're probably always dealing with maintenance issues, problems with the tenants, I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Constant.
Weird problem that is not my DNA type of a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Drug dealers and pipe bitter and people. I mean, there will be police in our complex every week. That type of. So
Yeah.
like, this is not my DNA. I don't want to do it.
Mm.
I want to have a smile at the end of the day. And I quit. I sold. In 7 months, Bradley, you will see 7 months I sold for 107% profit. No,
What?
137, not 107, 137% profit in 7 months. That's how good it was.
My gosh. So is that when you realized I'm going to do real estate? I just made 137% profit.
Yeah.
Like
No, that
this.
I didn't completely realize that, but I thought this is a good space. But at the same time, I didn't want to deal with the people in rental and this and that. And what do I do? So I thought land is something that the parameters are not very weird. I mean, I deal with the grass, the rain, and the cows.
Yeah.
None of them bother me. People are the most complex element of any project. And I
Mhm.
don't deal with a lot of weird people.
Mhm.
So I thought land is good. It looked simple. It's not as simple as it sounds, but it is still much simpler. You can scale with a minimum number of people, a small team. You can scale large. So I started with land purchase. I asked some of my friends. I thought I have only limited money with $150,000. What do I do? Nothing. So investable money, but it was not bad money at that time, but still it was nothing. So
Right.
I talked to some of my friends. They joined. We put the money in the bucket and we invested the bucket. And when we sold, we distributed the bucket. And so the bucket grew and we sold and distributed. But then there was a lot of, even in land, that I didn't know that it takes a lot of work. Bradley knows about it and stuff.
Yeah.
So the city, the zoning, the engineering company, the legal.
Bhadresh, on this first piece of land you bought, were you doing any horizontal work, engineering, utilities, or was it a true raw land? You
Totally,
bought it and then you flipped it and you got
yeah,
out.
totally raw
Okay.
land, and I still have it.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I
Did
sold
you
half of it, still have it.
did you have someone mentoring you or coaching you or someone in the real estate space, or were you just doing all this
We were
research on your
learning,
own and learning as you're
yeah,
going?
we're learning, and no matter anybody teaches you anything, you have to go through things. You know,
So true.
if it was that simple, then there will be colleges teaching real estate investment and people will be expert.
Right.
It doesn't work, right? So
Right.
it's not possible to just, you can listen to some stories, but and then some specific example from some experienced people may benefit you, but you have to go through and burn your hands to learn and stuff. People can say, oh, this is a live wire, but unless you know, how do you touch?
Get your hands dirty. Yeah.
They have to touch, get hand dirty and stuff, you know. And then you made some mistake. As long as the mistakes are not fatal, and you put the learning back into the business, you learn and you say, okay. Sometimes what not to do is important than what to do. Learning as to what not to do is sometimes more critical than what to do.
Well, and I want to double click on something. You mentioned on your first deal, you got some friends and family together, put money in, and you
Not
bought
the
just friends.
just
Just friends?
I tell you one thing, that
No
I
family.
don't take money, or I don't mix money and family together.
I think
Probably a
that's
good
smart.
decision.
Yeah,
My
very smart.
brother, my relatives, my in-laws, some of the people, they are not happy that I don't take their money, and I make the money to people and not. But it's never a winning game. Mixing the family and money, it's never a winning game. It's always a losing game.
It's not worth it. Yeah, if something goes wrong.
Emotional
So
is a problem. Yeah.
100% agree with that. So you raised the money with your friends who are technically investors, and that was your first deal. I'm sure it was on the smaller size. So I do want to touch on your investors and the relationships that you have, because that's something I've seen on the outside and I've heard you speak about. You do a lot of land transactions every year. Obviously, it's taken time to get to that point, but you have investors on each deal, or for most of your deals, or syndications. And a lot of times these investors are partnering with you over and over again on many projects.
Those that were
Yeah.
in the first deal are still my investors and friends.
Which is incredible.
From 2010 onwards. 2013 is when I quit, and I did some temporary jobs because I wasn't sure if I can manage without money. So 2016 or 2000 finally quit even the temporary job, contract job. And 2017 is when I'm doing this full time. So 17 to 2026, about 9 years. Investors were with me when I was doing part time. And my first land purchase was quitting this apartment and everything part time. And land deal, the first land deal I was doing, I was still at work. And that was something that I was trying, but the people were happy, and their friends told the other friends, they told the other friends. And that's how the organic growth of investor base continued. And we had number of people. By the time I was jumping full time, I had a reasonable number of investors, about 25 plus. And I thought I'll be able to do the deal. I put a structure together. I made some living out of it by taking a success fee on the deal. At the exit, if my success is up to this, I don't take anything. Up to this, I take a little bit. Up to this, I take a little bit more. That kind of stuff. So I put some structure together, and people are happy. People are happy to share with the profit.
Yeah.
As long as there are not fees, irrespective of fact whether they make or money, that's a problem. That's what the funds and other companies have. That's what the stock commission is, and that's what everywhere is. Whether you make money or not, you give the money to the.
Were you always confident in all of your land deals? Because a lot of these are parcels where you have to have a vision of what's going to come in 5-10 years. And the market that can change, there's so many uncertainties, but somehow you continue to perform for your investors and create that trust. How has that happened? I mean, did you just have an uncanny ability to know what was happening? Did you do a lot of research, or where did that confidence come from?
Honestly, nobody knows tomorrow, right? But the thing is, you vet yourself, and you do the vetting yourself. You do the feasibility yourself, and you put your own money in the deal when you are taking somebody else's money. So when people put the money, they watch it very careful. And I don't treat others' money differently anyway, because this is a very delicate business. If you lose once, you tarnish your name and you put a spot on your name. And better to be keeping your name completely spotlessly clean and better, shining, then you make money in the market. So you don't know tomorrow, but you stay in the path of growth. All you can do is forecast and see, take a calculated risk and stuff. Most of the times in the land deal, if you are in the path of growth, you may not fail, except that you should have ability to hang on for some longer time. You think that this will be exiting in 3 years. It may take 5 years. So as long as your investors are solid, as long as you're able to carry the cost and hang in, you're okay. I've not failed in this many years. The only once in 9 years, I must have done about 40 plus deals. I failed in one deal when I was involved in construction, and the cost of construction was way more than what I thought. And we overbuilt for the location. So we made losses. That was the only thing and I took it very seriously myself. I funded.
But that was a retail deal. That was construction, right? That was why.
It was a townhome deal.
Yeah. So.
Retail
And
deal.
how did you handle that with your team? And,
I put my own money to fund the loss.
Okay.
What I do is generally it's nowhere in the operating. I mean, anybody invests anywhere. There is one possibility of losing also, and everybody knows that. But I don't take it easy when I lose. in this particular case, only one case. What I do is I take those people that are invested in the deal that lost money, and I bring them to the other deal. And other deal, I feel very strong about some deal that I said that you come in here, I'm inviting you here, zero management fee. It'll be just a free service to make sure that you make up for the losses, and you make up here too. And that happened in one case. And the second case is where success was not that good. So I'm putting the investors there. Investors feel very good. It is good to hear from the investors saying that you're taking too hard on yourself. It's okay. We made money on
Right.
5 different. We can afford to make. You can't win every time. If your investors tells you that,
Means
that's
you're
a good
doing
thing.
something good. Yeah.
That
But
means
it's
you're
so
good.
evident
Yes, but
that you're treating your investors and your partners like you would want to be treated. And the way that you're in every deal, you're putting your neck on the line and saying, I'll make up for the losses. I want you to know that I'm, on the front lines with you. And I think that
yeah,
it's evident. I mean, your team or your investors have been with you for years and
yeah.
years
At the
and
end of the day,
years.
I'm so blessed that tremendous success that I couldn't even dream, right? And so there's some good outcome is there because of we think about the Indian philosophy of karma. Karma comes back. If you do good karma, it comes back in a good way. Bad karma will bite you bad. So it is all here. And I have good investors. They are nothing but my extended family. In my website, I don't ask for anyone to invest. I don't have agents looking for investment. It's all word of mouth and organic growth.
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
no
And
investment that I.
the only way that you can grow your investor base through word of mouth, right, is the relationships. Kind of back
Yeah.
to the earlier point. That's one of the fundamental principles of FrostFire Capital is relationships first.
Yeah.
But there's also something else I want to touch on, which is a fundamental principle of your company. And it's in the signature block of your email. And I've heard you talk about it a lot. We were at lunch a few days ago, and you mentioned you work 18 hours a day. And I thought, wow, he has me beat by about 6 hours. That's impressive. And he's a lot older than me. I've got to step up my game. So you say work is a virtue, and I've heard you say that a lot. Can you tell us, what does that mean to you? How important is work? Can you balance work and life, or do you just fully focus on work and try and enjoy it?
I work a lot. Even when I was an employee working for a corporation, I still worked a lot. But the beauty of what I'm doing now is that I enjoy what I do. And when you like what you do, you never work a day of your life because you enjoy that. I like people, I have full family support. And success also is a kind of a liquor that gets you high too.
Yeah.
So that's a deals get you high.
It's addicting, yeah.
Yeah, I don't get high on anything else. I get high on the deals and the success. And that's
Spoken like a true real estate person.
Yep. We all
Yeah.
know what
Delaney and
that's
I
like.
can relate.
Yep.
Yeah.
We sure do.
It's like forward. Let me put it this way. Process of achievement is more important and thrilling to me than the achievement itself. If I get a successful deal, that is in my bag. I don't look at it later too much. I look at the next deal.
Always be
that's where
looking
my focus-
forward. Yeah. That's
So
great
that's
advice.
the good-
Yeah.
And in whatever you secure and put in your bag also has some work to do with it. But we work and stuff. And the other thing I strongly feel, and I say this to my boys too, is that the top-notch, brilliant people can fail, but the hardworking people rarely fail. I mean, there is a component of fate and everything else, but sometimes you make your own fate too, right? So if you're very bright and brilliant and intelligent person and you don't really put it to practice by working, chances are that you may fail. But if you work,
I agree.
that's rarely. Why would a hard work?
How can you fail?
Yeah.
When you're consistently showing up and working hard, it's almost impossible, like you say, to fail.
Yeah, that's. So I like that, and I don't get tired and I enjoy. The other beautiful thing about this business is that every deal is different. Every investor is different, and everybody that you deal with, the banker, the broker, the agents, the buyers, the sellers, the town, the city manager, city council, EDC, everybody has different flavor. Although it is the same town for two different deals, the same town has a different flavor. The access, the easement, the engineering, the site plan, the unique problems. There is never a dull day. There is never
It's never boring.
I agree with
never
that
boring.
100%. I think
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons I love real estate so much too, is every deal looks different no matter what.
It's
That takes
yeah.
creativity, and the people that you're working with, it requires a different type of communication, or they have different needs that you're trying to fulfill. And so
Yeah.
it keeps you on your toes, but it's so fulfilling because you never know what the day is going to hold. So if you could go back, we always ask this question, and I think it's a really important question. If you could go back and tell your younger self, maybe right when you got to the United States and you were making $4.99 at TJ Maxx, just kind of barely scraping by, if you could go back and give yourself some advice, and this is applicable to other young people maybe getting started in the industry, what's something you might say to your younger self, knowing where you are now
Honestly,
today?
to be honest with you, I couldn't say too much because I didn't have money to do anything that I do today. So it's one day at a time. Just make tomorrow better than yesterday is what the life is about. The only thing I would say, or I would think myself about myself, is that certain illusions that I had were wrong. So I would say, if someone coming or someone youngsters and stuff, I would say, don't assume that you are not fit to do good in certain space. And I thought about, why would anybody take me seriously in the finance world and stuff? That was a wrong assumption. So don't assume that you can't or can do certain things. You just have to keep doing it and stuff. If you don't jump into the water, you never learn how to swim, right? So
Yeah.
it's just the way it is. That's the only thing I would say. But otherwise, could I do real estate? No, I couldn't, because I didn't have money to buy bread. So that was then. It was the survival, and then it was being a little comfortable, and then it was everybody has the next goal, and when the next goal is achieved, they go to the next goal. So that is always the case. Beyond certain point, money is not the goal. Then beyond certain point, the goal is to do good to others and stuff like that. I have a team that I have to think about. It's not just my family.
Right.
I have people that work with me or for me that I would worry about, and all that kind of stuff. Things change. Goals change. I don't have a goal to be too wealthy, but I have a goal to be happy and spend evenings at least with my wife and my kids. That's it. So,
And you have several beautiful ranches. I think you have horses. Do you spend time relaxing at the ranch when you're not working?
that's the complaint my wife has, that you have things, but you don't have time to enjoy it. But yeah, sometimes, not all the times, but we have the vegetable farm that
Wow.
our rancher grows about 22 to 25 different types of vegetables. So I'm a vegetarian, so I enjoy that. Horses are there, which are pleasant to look at. Beautiful, nicely maintained ranch that I enjoy. I don't have to even go out. My windows, my full-size glass windows are good enough for me to see everything. I don't have to put the blinds off because there is nobody there except for horses and birds. Nobody can watch me. So,
Lots of privacy. That's great.
Amazing.
Bhadresh, I know you don't do a lot of marketing. It's all word of mouth. Is there anywhere we can direct people to find you if they want to reach out? A website, would that be the best? Or how can people get in touch if they have a land opportunity?
yeah, the FrostFire Capital site and the LinkedIn are the best way. Not that I'm actively looking for. I have enough investors and stuff, and if I can cater to my investors happily and better, that's good enough. But there are good people out there. Like-mindedness is more important for me than the money somebody comes with.
100%.
I want to have good people that I work with and they work with me and stuff like that. So yeah, LinkedIn and FrostFireCapital.com.
Perfect. Well, Bhadresh, it was so incredible having you on the podcast. Thank you so much for your time and your wisdom and your insights and just being open and sharing your story with us. It's a really powerful story, and I think a lot of people will benefit from hearing some of the things that you talked about, and that's not selling yourself short, showing up every day consistently and working hard and trying to make tomorrow better than today. That's something we all can remember and benefit from. So thank you. I'm so honored to have chatted with you for the last hour, and thank you so much for being on Brick and Brand.
You guys
Thank you, Bhadresh.
you were so fantastic that you made it just in 1 hour, everything perfectly.
We try to be very timely. We
Perfect
know
timing.
everyone's time is valuable. We don't want to take too
I
much.
know.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being on,
We'll
Bhadresh.
see you next
Okay,
week
bye.
on Brick and Brand.